Holly's hand trembled as she hit send on the email meant for her best friend. But in a blur of exhaustion after pulling an all-nighter at the office, she realized too late it had gone to her CEO, Georgia Hargrove. The confession poured out raw and unfiltered. I can't stop thinking about you. The way your eyes light up in meetings. How your voice commands the room yet softens when you're alone. I'm falling for you, and it terrifies me. Her heart plummeted into her stomach as the confirmation popped up. Sent to georgia.hargrove@techforge.com. She stared at the screen, the sterile glow of her laptop illuminating her pale face in the dim New York apartment, her mind racing through the fallout. Professional ruin, personal humiliation, the end of everything she'd built. Georgia, seated in her penthouse overlooking Central Park, sipped her morning coffee when the email notification chimed. She opened it absent-mindedly, expecting another project update, but the words hit her like a freight train. Her pulse quickened. She reread the lines, feeling a strange mix of shock and something deeper. An echo of unspoken thoughts she'd buried under layers of corporate armor. Who was this Holly? She pulled up the employee directory. Holly Ramirez, mid-level analyst, sharp, dedicated. The one who'd impressed her in last week's strategy session with those insightful questions. Georgia's mind whirled. Was this a joke? A setup? Or genuine? She leaned back in her leather chair, the city awakening below, and wondered why her first instinct wasn't to report it to HR but to feel a flicker of curiosity, even intrigue. Holly bolted from her bed, pacing the small living room cluttered with takeout boxes and work files. What have I done? She thought, her inner voice a storm of panic. I've just thrown away my career over a crush I never meant to voice. She imagined Georgia's reaction. Disgust, dismissal, maybe even pity. The job at TechForge was her lifeline, pulled her out of a stifling family in suburban New Jersey where her parents still clung to traditional values, expecting her to settle down with a nice man, produce grandkids. Coming out to them years ago had been a battle. They'd accepted it begrudgingly, but only if she kept it quiet. Now this, exposing her feelings to her boss, a woman who embodied success and poise, married to the company's image of heteronormative perfection. Georgia was engaged, wasn't she? Rumors swirled about her upcoming wedding to some venture capitalist. Holly sank onto the couch, burying her face in her hands. I need to fix this. Delete it somehow. Apologize. But how? Georgia set her mug down with a clink, her fingers hovering over the reply button. Delete and ignore? Forward to HR for protocol? But the words lingered. Falling for you. It stirred memories she'd long suppressed. College flings with women, dismissed as phases, buried under ambition and family expectations. Her parents, conservative pillars in Atlanta society, had arranged introductions to suitable men, and she played along, building her empire while keeping her true self locked away. The engagement to Mark was strategic, a merger of sorts, but reading Holly's email cracked that facade. What if? She pondered, a dangerous question. She typed a quick response. We need to talk. My office, 9 a.m. Sent. No turning back now. Holly arrived at the sleek TechForge headquarters in Manhattan, her stomach in knots, dressed in her sharpest blazer to mask the turmoil inside. The elevator ride felt eternal, each floor ding amplifying her dread. What will she say? Fire me on the spot? Sue for harassment? She rehearsed apologies in her head. It was a mistake. Meant for someone else, please forget it. But deep down a rebellious voice whispered, but it's true. You've admired her from afar for months. The way she fights for diversity initiatives yet hides her own vulnerabilities. The doors opened to the executive floor, and Holly stepped out, heart pounding. Georgia watched from her glass-walled office as Holly approached, noting the young woman's tense posture, the way she clutched her bag like a shield. Come in, she gestured, closing the door behind them for privacy. Holly, sit. Her voice was steady, professional, but her mind raced. This could be a liability, yet something about Holly's earnest email resonated. Explain, Georgia said simply, leaning against her desk. Holly's words tumbled out. It was an accident. I meant to send it to my friend. I'm so sorry, Miss Hargrove. I respect you immensely. This won't affect my work. Please just pretend it never happened. But even as she spoke, her eyes betrayed her, lingering on Georgia's composed features, the subtle curve of her lips. Georgia nodded slowly, her own thoughts conflicted. Ignore it? But why does it feel like fate? I believe you, she replied. But we keep this between us. No more slips. Understood. Holly nodded vigorously, relief washing over her, though a pang of disappointment followed. As Holly left, Georgia stared at the door, wondering why letting it go felt like a loss. In the days that followed, the office buzzed with normalcy, but for Holly and Georgia, an invisible tension hummed. Holly threw herself into projects, avoiding eye contact in meetings, her inner monologue a constant berate. Stay professional. Don't look at her. But glances stole through, and she noticed Georgia's subtle shifts, a lingering gaze, a softer tone in feedback. Georgia, meanwhile, found herself reviewing Holly's work more closely, not for errors, but to understand the woman behind the data. Smart, intuitive, with a fire that mirrored her own younger self. At home, conversations with Mark felt hollow. Wedding plans loomed, but her mind wandered to that email. Is this awakening something I've ignored too long? She questioned silently. The first crack came at the company retreat in the Catskills. Team-building exercises forced proximity. During a group hike, Holly slipped on a route, and Georgia caught her arm instinctively. Their eyes met, electric. Thanks, Holly murmured, pulling away quickly, but the touch lingered in her thoughts. Her hand was warm, strong. What am I doing? Georgia released her grip, heart racing. Coincidence, she told herself. But that night, around the campfire, stories shared. Holly opened up about her family's expectations, the pressure to conform. Georgia listened, seeing parallels to her own life. As the fire died, she whispered, "You're braver than you know." Holly's breath caught. Is she flirting? No, just kind. Back in the city, the distance they vowed to maintain began to erode. Late nights at the office, collaborative sessions turned personal. Georgia shared her doubts about the wedding. Holly confessed her fears of rejection. Bonds formed in quiet confessions, but the stakes rose. What if someone notices? Holly worried. Georgia echoed. This could destroy us both. Yet the pull strengthened. A shared lunch turned into walks in the park, conversations deepening. Holly's family called, pressuring her about dating. She dodged, thinking of Georgia. Georgia's parents visited, gushing over Mark, but she felt trapped. The internal conflict brewed. Duty versus desire. By the end of the first month, a stolen moment in the elevator, eyes locking, unspoken words, left them both breathless. Holly thought, this is dangerous. Georgia agreed silently, but impossible to stop. The elevator doors closed with a soft ding, sealing Holly and Georgia in a confined space that suddenly felt too small. Neither spoke at first, the air thick with the remnants of their earlier meeting where strategies had given way to subtle admissions. Holly stared at the floor numbers descending, her mind screaming, "Say something normal." But her heart betrayed her, replaying the brush of Georgia's hand on hers during the presentation. Georgia, arms crossed, glanced sideways, thinking, this is madness. I'm her boss, engaged, straight passing for the world. Yet here I am, drawn to her fire. Finally, Georgia broke the silence. Good work today, Holly. Your insights on the merger were spot on. Her voice was even, but her thoughts churned. Why does complimenting her feel like crossing a line? Holly looked up, forcing a smile. Thanks. I want to prove myself. Internally, she added. And not just professionally. The doors opened to the lobby, and they stepped out into the bustling New York evening. Have a good night, Holly said, turning away, but Georgia called after her. Wait. Coffee. There's a place around the corner. We could discuss the next phase. It was an excuse, and they both knew it. Holly hesitated, her family's voices echoing in her head. Find someone stable, don't rock the boat. But she nodded, and they walked side by side, the city lights blurring around them. At the cafe, small talk evolved into revelations. Georgia admitted, my parents are flying in next week for wedding dress fittings. It's also orchestrated. Her tone held a bitterness she rarely showed. Why am I telling her this? She wondered. To test the waters? Holly sipped her latte, heart aching. Sounds overwhelming. My folks still think I'll grow out of being gay. They set me up on blind dates with guys from church. She laughed hollowly, but inside, if only they knew about you. The conversation stretched late, vulnerabilities exposed. Georgia confessed her college experiments, dismissed as youthful folly. Holly shared her first heartbreak, a closeted girlfriend who chose family over love. As they parted, Georgia's hand lingered on Holly's shoulder. "Thanks for listening." Holly nodded, thinking, "This is more than friendship." Back home, Holly lay awake, dissecting every word. Is she feeling it too? Or am I projecting? The risk loomed. If this blows up, I lose my job, my reputation. But the connection felt real, worth the gamble. Georgia, in her empty penthouse, poured a glass of wine, Mark away on business. The ring on her finger felt heavy. Calling off the wedding? Insane. But Holly's email haunted her. Awakening dormant truths. Am I living a lie? The question gnawed. Office dynamics shifted subtly. Georgia assigned Holly to her direct team, justifying it as talent development. Meetings lingered, eyes meeting across tables. Colleagues noticed whispers of favoritism. Holly overheard in the break room. She's climbing fast. Wonder why? Shame burned. Am I earning this or is it pity? Confrontation came at a client dinner. Georgia, poised in a tailored suit, commanded the room. Holly, by her side, felt empowered yet exposed. After, in the taxi back, Georgia said, "You were brilliant tonight." Holly blushed. "Only because of your lead." Their hands brushed on the seat, neither pulling away. At Georgia's building, she invited Holly up for a nightcap. Just to debrief. Holly agreed, pulse racing. Inside, the view stunning but tension palpable. They talked of dreams, fears. Georgia admitted, "I've never felt this. Seen." Holly's breath hitched, "Me too." But as the clock struck midnight, reality intruded. Georgia's phone buzzed. Mark. She answered briefly, voice strained. Holly stood to leave, jealousy flaring. "He's the safe choice. Am I just a distraction?" Georgia hung up, seeing Holly's expression. "It's complicated." Holly nodded, but inside, complicated means I'm the complication. The next day, avoidance set in. Georgia buried in work, Holly in doubt. But a crisis hit. A data breach threat. They worked through the night side by side. In the wee hours, exhaustion loosened tongues. "Why did you really send that email?" Georgia asked softly. Holly sighed. "Because it's true. But I never meant to burden you." Georgia met her gaze. "It's not a burden. It's awakening." Their hands touched intentionally this time, a spark. But Georgia pulled back. "We can't." Holly left, tears stinging. Why dangle hope then retract? At home, she journaled furiously. "She's engaged. I'm foolish. But the heart wants what it wants." Georgia watched her go, conflicted. Calling HR? No. Ending the engagement? Terrifying. But ignoring this? Impossible. Family pressures mounted. Holly's parents visited, probing. "Seeing anyone?" She lied. "Work's busy." Inside, "If only I could tell you about her." Georgia's folks arrived, wedding talks dominating. "Mark's perfect," her mother gushed. Georgia smiled but thought, "Is he?" A turning point. The company gala. Dressed elegantly, they circled each other. Mark attended, arm around Georgia. Holly watched, heartbreaking. That's her life. I'm the outsider. But in a quiet hallway, Georgia found her. "I can't stop thinking about you." Words echoed Holly's email. Holly whispered, "Then what now?" Georgia hesitated. "I don't know." The night ended in turmoil. Holly drove home, tears blurring. "This hurts too much." Georgia lay beside Mark, awake, time to choose. As weeks passed, stolen moments accumulated. Texts, lunches, confessions. But secrecy weighed. Holly's friend noticed. "You're glowing but stressed." She confided partially, fearing judgment. Georgia's internal battle raged. Betray Mark, family? Or myself? A fight with Mark erupted over her distractions. "What's going on?" he demanded. She evaded, guilt gnawing. The climax brewed. Holly's promotion announcement. Jealous colleagues accused nepotism. HR inquired subtly. Panic set in. Holly confronted Georgia in her office. "Is this real or am I a phase?" Georgia's eyes filled. "It's real. But the cost." They parted unresolved, hearts entangled, worlds colliding. The HR meeting loomed like a storm cloud over Holly's desk the next morning. She sat rigidly, replaying the anonymous tip. Inappropriate relationship between CEO and subordinate. Her mind raced. Who knows? A colleague? Mark. She glanced at Georgia's office, blinds drawn, and wondered if she was facing the same interrogation. This is the price, Holly thought bitterly. For a few moments of truth, everything crumbles. Georgia, across from the HR director, maintained composure. Rumors are just that, she stated firmly. But inside, how did it leak? A careless glance? Her secretary's suspicion? The director probed. Any truth to favoritism? Georgia denied, but the lie tasted sour. Walking out, she texted Holly. My office. Now. Holly entered, door clicking shut. What happened? She whispered. Georgia paced. They're watching us. We have to stop. Holly's heart sank. Stop? After all this? You mean distance again? Georgia nodded, eyes averted. For both our sakes. But as Holly turned to leave, tears welling, Georgia grabbed her arm. Wait. I called off the engagement last night. Shock rippled through Holly. What? Why didn't you say? Georgia sighed. Mark deserved to know first. He suspected something, but not this. Flashback to the night before. Georgia and Mark in the penthouse, wine untouched. I'm not in love with you, she'd admitted. Mark's face hardened. Is there someone else? She hesitated then. Yes. A woman. His shock turned to anger. You're throwing away everything for a fling? She stood firm. It's not a fling. It's me. He stormed out, leaving her alone with the echo of slammed doors. Holly processed, hope flickering. So, us. Georgia shook her head. Not yet. HR's on alert. And my family. Holly understood. The Hargroves' Southern elite wouldn't accept this. Days blurred into cautious distance. Texts ceased. Meetings formal. Holly threw herself into work, but loneliness gnawed. At home, her parents called. Come visit. We miss you. She agreed, dreading the facade. In New Jersey, family dinner turned interrogation. Any girlfriends? Her mom asked hopefully. Holly evaded. Her dad grunted. Just be careful. Society's not kind. Inside, she screamed. You mean you're not kind? Memories of her coming out flooded. Tears, Bible quotes, conditional love. Georgia faced her own reckoning. Parents in town, she broke the news over brunch. The wedding's off. Her mother's fork clattered. Why? Georgia took a breath. I'm gay. Silence exploded into chaos. Her father. Nonsense. It's dress. Mother. What will people say? Georgia's voice cracked. What about what I say? They left disappointed, whispering of therapy. Back at work, a project crisis forced collaboration. Late nights reignited sparks. In the conference room alone, Georgia confessed. I miss you. Holly, me too. But the risks. They agreed to wait, but tension built. Betrayal struck when Holly's ex, Sarah, resurfaced. Jealous of rumors, Sarah emailed Georgia anonymously, hinting at Holly's patterns. Georgia confronted Holly. Is this true? Holly denied, hurt. You believe her over me? The fight escalated. You're scared, Holly accused. Georgia snapped. Damn right. I'm losing everything. Holly stormed out, thinking. Maybe she's right. I'm not worth it. Reconciliation came via a heartfelt email from Georgia. I'm sorry. Let's talk. They met in Central Park, benches under autumn leaves. Georgia opened up. My parents cut ties temporarily. Mark's spreading rumors. Holly shared. My family's pushing therapy. They held hands briefly, defiant. But society bit back. At an industry conference in Chicago, whispers followed. TechForge CEO in a scandal. Georgia's speech faltered slightly, but she powered through. Holly in the audience admired her strength, thinking. She's fighting for us. Post-conference, a quiet dinner. We go public? Holly suggested. Georgia hesitated. The board might oust me. The moral dilemma weighed. Career versus love. A twist. Holly's promotion revoked amid investigations. Furious, she considered quitting. This is unfair, she told Georgia. Georgia. Fight it. With me. Family interventions intensified. Holly's parents ambushed her with a pastor. Pray the gay away. She exploded. This is who I am. They left in tears, her mom pleading. Don't lose us. Georgia's father called. Reconsider. For the family name. She refused. I have to live my truth. The turning point. A board meeting. Georgia defended Holly's work, admitting the relationship. Gasps. It's personal but doesn't affect business. Debates raged. She risked it all. Holly, waiting outside, paced. If she loses her position, it's my fault. Guilt consumed her. The door opened. Georgia emerged, face unreadable. They accepted it. With conditions. Relief, but at what cost? Scrutiny, no favoritism. They embraced briefly in the hallway, a small victory. But damages lingered. Strained families, wary colleagues. As months passed, relationships solidified in shadows. Dates discreet, love deepening. But cracks showed. Holly resented secrecy. When do we live openly? Georgia. Soon. Patience. A major betrayal. Georgia's mother leaked to tabloids. Headlines. Tech CEO's lesbian affair shocks industry. Chaos ensued. Stock dipped. Calls for resignation. Holly read the article, devastated. Your family did this? Georgia apologized. They're hurting. But trust fractured. Confrontation at home. Choose them or us. Georgia. It's not that simple. Holly left, slamming the door. Maybe it is. Alone, Holly questioned. Was this worth the pain? Georgia pondered. Have I sacrificed too much? Holly wandered the streets of Brooklyn that night. Rain slicking the sidewalks, her mind a whirlwind of betrayal and doubt. How could Georgia's family stoop so low? She fumed internally. And why does she defend them? The tabloid article burned in her memory. Photos of them at the gala. Captions speculating, office romance gone wrong. Her phone buzzed, friends, family, colleagues. She ignored them all, seeking solace in a quiet bar. Sipping whiskey, she reflected. I pushed her to this. But no, she chose me. The internal tug-of-war exhausted her. Georgia, back in her penthouse, stared at the city lights, phone in hand. Call her? Apologize again? But pride held her back. My mother's desperate, she rationalized. Trying to save me. Memories of childhood flooded. Strict upbringing, expectations to marry well. Continue the legacy. Coming out shattered that. The board's email arrived. Emergency meeting tomorrow. Her position hung by a thread. Morning brought confrontation. At the office, media camped outside. Georgia addressed the board. My personal life is mine. Focus on results. Some nodded. Others scowled. Resign or face vote, the chairman said. Georgia stood tall. I won't hide. Walking out, she texted Holly. Meet me. Please. Holly arrived at a neutral cafe, face stormy. Your family ruined us. Georgia sighed. They're wrong. But cutting them off. It's hard. Holly softened slightly. I get it. Mine's the same. They talked hours mending fences. We fight together, Georgia decided. But damage rippled. Holly's parents disowned her temporarily. Until you straighten out. Tears flowed in private. Why can't they love me as I am? Georgia's father offered money to end it discreetly. She refused, anger fueling resolve. Rebuilding commenced. Public statement. Georgia came out fully, praising Holly's talent, denying impropriety. Stock stabilized, supporters emerged. But haters online, slurs, threats. Holly deleted social media, anxiety peaking. Is love worth this hate? A pivotal moment. Family reunion for Holly's side in New Jersey. She invited Georgia, a bold move. Tension thick at the door. Her mom hugged stiffly. Dad nodded curtly. Dinner awkward. Small talk veering to lifestyle choices. Georgia defended gracefully. Love is love. Holly's sister whispered support, but parents remained frosty. As they left, her mom pulled Holly aside. She's nice, but think of the grandkids. Holly. Think of my happiness. A small crack in the armor. Georgia's turn, Thanksgiving in Atlanta. Holly accompanied, nerves frayed. Hargrove's polite but distant. Over turkey, her mother probed. This phase over? Georgia. It's not a phase. Accept or lose me. Father intervened. Give us time. Progress, albeit slow. Back in New York, relationship deepened amid trials. Arguments flared over boundaries. Holly wanted full openness, Georgia cautioned. We've lost enough. But a surprise. Board backed Georgia fully, citing diversity values. Yet, a final betrayal loomed. Mark Bitter leaked internal emails suggesting favoritism. Investigation reopened. Holly testified. Our work stands alone. Georgia fought. This is discrimination. The hearing dragged, emotions raw. Holly thought. If we lose, what then? Georgia echoed. My empire for love? Verdict. Cleared but with probation. Relief but scars remained. Colleagues divided. Some allied, others distanced. As winter set in, they moved in together, a quiet commitment. Mornings in shared space, conversations deep. But doubts lingered. Holly. Am I enough? Georgia. Did I choose right? A high-stakes decision. Georgia considered stepping down for a startup, free from scrutiny. With you by my side. Holly agreed, excited yet terrified. Starting over? Family thaws began. Holly's parents called. We miss you. Come home. Tentative reconciliation. Georgia's mother sent a card. Thinking of you. But society pushed back. At a pride event, protesters heckled. Holly gripped Georgia's hand. We're stronger. Inside, but at what cost? The ultimate test. A colleague's wedding. Attending as a couple, whispers abounded. Mark appeared, confrontation inevitable. You wrecked my life, he accused Georgia. She replied calmly. I wrecked the lie. Holly stood by her. We're happy now. Leaving, they reflected in the car. Worth it? Holly asked. Georgia. Every scar. As the story crested, awakening solidified. Holly embraced her identity fully, advocating at work. Georgia mentored LGBTQ youth, turning pain to purpose. But questions remained. Had they chosen correctly amid the wreckage? Spring brought renewal, but for Holly and Georgia, it was a season of reckoning. Their new apartment in Brooklyn buzzed with unpacked boxes, a symbol of merged lives amid chaos. Mornings started with coffee and quiet talks, but undercurrents of unresolved tension simmered. Holly stared out the window at budding trees, thinking, we've come so far, but the shadows linger. Georgia, reviewing startup plans, felt the same freedom at last, yet the weight of losses presses. The startup launch loomed, a venture focused on inclusive tech. Holly as COO, Georgia leading. Excitement mixed with fear. What if it fails? Investors wary after scandals. But they pushed forward, decisions laced with drama. Late nights debating ethics. Prioritize profits or people? Georgia argued balance. Holly pushed ideals. Clashes revealed depths. Holly's idealism from her struggles, Georgia's pragmatism from corporate battles. Family bridges mended slowly. Holly's parents visited the apartment, awkward at first. Nice place, her dad grunted, eyeing photos of them together. Mom brought casserole, a peace offering. Over dinner, talks turned deep. We worried you'd be alone, Mom admitted. Holly. I'm not. She's my family now. Dad nodded reluctantly. As long as you're happy. A hug at parting, tears unshed. Inside, Holly rejoiced. Acceptance finally. Georgia's side progressed. A call from her mother. Can we talk? They met in a neutral cafe in Atlanta during a business trip. Tears flowed. I was scared, Mom confessed. Society's cruel. Georgia. But hiding hurts more. Hugs mended fences. Father followed gruff apologies. Proud of you, kid. Georgia returned lighter. Maybe healing is possible. But society didn't forgive easily. Online trolls persisted. A podcast dissected their affair. Holly listened, rage building, they twist everything. Georgia soothed. Let it go. We know the truth. A major conflict arose. An investor pulled out, citing distractions. Georgia confronted. You mean my orientation? He denied, but implications clear. Holly urged lawsuit. Georgia hesitated. Bad press. The debate raged at home. Fight. Holly insisted. Georgia. Choose battles. Compromise. Public statement calling out bias. Media frenzy ensued, but support surged. Donations poured in, the startup thrived. Personal tolls mounted. Holly's health suffered. Stress-induced migraines. Is this worth it? she whispered one night. Georgia held her. You are. But doubts crept. Did I drag her into this? Georgia faced her own demons. Nightmares of boardrooms, lost empires. I gave up so much, she confided. Holly. For us. Reassurance, but the price evident. A turning point. Pride Parade in New York. They marched hand in hand, banners high. Cheers drowned haters. Holly thought, this is liberation. Georgia echoed, finally free. But betrayal's echo returned. Sarah, the ex, apologized via email. I was jealous. Forgive. Holly deleted it. No room for toxicity. As the startup succeeded, awards came. At a gala, Georgia's speech. Love taught me courage. Holly beamed from the audience. My hero. Yet, in quiet moments, reflections deepened. Holly journaled. The choices, confession, pursuit, defiance. Each a double-edged sword. Pain but growth. Georgia pondered, was breaking norms right? Or selfish? The story closed on a rooftop dinner, stars above. No regrets? Holly asked. Georgia smiled. None, but inside mostly. Their journey, fraught with confrontations, sacrifices, and awakenings, left indelible marks. Families mended, societies challenged, selves discovered. But was defying conventions for personal truth always the moral high ground? Or did it sometimes inflict unnecessary harm on those around them?